Ario Namibia Media Holdings. Allister leading at halftime, obviously 15 on 15. Second half, mostly with 14, sometimes 13 men. Is that the big difference looking back at it?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I think discipline at the end of the day had a big influence on the result, obviously. We were in control in the first half. We conceded 6 penalties in that half. And we wanted to have a fast start, which we did. So if you compare that to the second half, we conceded 13 penalties, in total 19. So test match rugby, that takes your momentum, the control, it takes everything away. So that was the first disappointing thing, and we spoke, Captain and I spoke half time about we in control of it. How do we keep control? How do we keep control? We started off well again, but then from one scrum penalty, set piece again. Test match rugby is all about building pressure at set piece, building pressure and playing in the right areas, and get the scoreboard ticking. So unfortunately, it started with our set piece, and then it was just compounding with the penalties. In that, therefore, second half we lost the initiative completely.
Next question, yes.
Question for the captain, sorry if I don't try to pronounce your name. Given you were ahead at half-time, do you feel more proud of the way you were playing, or more you have regrets for not being able to get that first victory?
No, I think leading into the half-time, our main focus, as the coach just mentioned, was to regroup and start off well again. And I think we did that for like 5 minutes, but not long enough. And like you said, the penalties kept on compounding, and at the end of the day, that's what cost us.
Voy a preguntar en español. ¿Qué habían planteado en el arranque del partido, donde consiguen un try prácticamente de forma inmediata, pero consiguieron meterle, como usted decía, entrenador, mucha presión a Uruguay? Cada vez que tuvo la pelota lo atacaron muy bien, recuperaron pelotas y lograron controlar el partido. ¿Qué habían visto de Uruguay como para plantear ese partido y dominarlo físicamente en el primer tiempo?
Yeah, obviously, when you do prepare, you look at how to apply pressure with ball in hand, and I think we were really accurate at breakdown. We won our lineouts, and we could use this as a platform to play from. We got penalties through that, and we got the scoreboard ticking. But as soon as you don't win your set piece, that's one thing. They came back. We weren't accurate with our maul stopping. In this first half, that's how they scored, with the coming back and got the first try. But we defended well for periods, and then all of a sudden it's just a high tackle, and it started a bit with the defense without being pressurized. So one guy missed a first up tackle, the second guy comes in, he's upright, penalty. You win the ball in your own half. One player, just overzealous, overeager, he goes off his feet at the breakdown, penalty. So the penalties really take complete control and momentum away, and that has been the most disappointing part of our play. And it's not sometimes unforced, But look, the same time, as disappointed as I am, I think I'll draw hard from the period where we were defending with 13 men and they couldn't break through, for a long period. In those, moments you take away and explain to the players that that's what you can't coach, is when you guys leave nothing out there. I think the only thing we will regret is our discipline.
Captain, can you take us inside that dressing room? Well, what was it like at the final whistle, and how's everyone feeling?
Obviously, everyone's disappointed because I think there's an aspect of we beat ourselves. So that's the biggest sort of what you'd say a regret. So there's sort of we beat ourselves today, and it's quite unfortunate. But at the same time, you can't take anything away from the boys. Like Coach explained, they really left it all out there, second half, under the pump. So as much as I'm disappointed personally for my yellow card as well, there's a sense of pride as well amongst the boys, and can't fault them. Yeah.
Maybe I should just add, that's not an excuse, but this team has gone through a hell of a tough week. They lost their captain, they got 4 players injured, or the senior players injured. And coming out to put a performance up like this, that's also a massive positive to me. I think Uruguay, I mean, we so-called performance unions, but they played with their best possible team out there tonight. And for our boys to regroup after a drubbing by the French, regroup, having your captain out, 2 players withdrew 2 days before the game, and 3 other players out with injuries. The 1 player couldn't play, he's on tour, not enough bone fusion or callus formed around his break. All those kind of things, and you put that in perspective, then there's a lot of heart in the team, and there's a lot to build on. But we can't build after we qualified again. We've got to build as ASAP is from next year.
Allister, asking you to reflect on the games you've just had, but also you just mentioned looking forward. What can be done or should be done to try and narrow the gap between the lower ranked teams when we look ahead to the next World Cup?
The first thing, like I said also, any test match starts with set-piece dominance. Now, I know Namibia, have come on for the last couple of World Cups and battle up front. It's a country with a limited number of tight-head props. And that is one position. I mean, our tight-head prop, Allister Coetzee, is giving his everything. He's probably won't see another World Cup. I'm not sure at this point in time. But we need to blood young players. Like I say, there should be a program with a timeline. We are under 21 players coming through. The one young Namibian prop is in France at Racing Metro at the moment. So those are the guys that you've got to identify now and make sure that the conditioning is up to speed, that the player gets enough test match experience. Out there tonight, it's just a matter of also not enough competition and caps against tier 1 countries and top other nations. So those to me are the 2 major things. And I'm sure when we go back, we'll brainstorm this and make sure that we make sure our tight forwards, we do a bit of think tank where we have our scrumming experts coming in and coach the youngsters and condition the youngsters. Otherwise, it will always be, the playing fields won't be even. It will always be at a disadvantage to tier 1 nations. Like I said, we registered players in the country under 1,000, under 800, and you've got to look now where to find those, those props and develop them. The second thing, it's conditioning. It's when you get to camp in World Cup here, you get your players in camp, they should be conditioned. They should be conditioned like any other professional out there. So that's the next major thing that our high-performance program will have to look at, is our conditioning, because the collisions at this level, it's just simply way too high than where the competition and level we're playing at.
A question to the coach. Taking into consideration the 4th game in, I think, 18 days. Only team to have, first team to complete it 4 games. Other teams in the group like Italy or like New Zealand and Italy have only played 2 games. This is the 4th game. is that the effect? How do you manage that, firstly? And secondly, you're talking about injuries. Is that not a risk in World Rugby to have a test team play 4 tests in 18 days in the schedule?
Yeah, look, Ari, I think from our point of view is we can control what we can control. The fixture, I mean, 4 games in 18 days, you guys can decide on it, you know. But we came out as fresh as we possibly could be for this match and to compete. Like I said, you know, with 5 injuries in the camp. And we did compete tonight. And that's also one thing about this team. And I said to them, you know, before that, in my eyes, I'm so proud of you guys because you really rallied around each other and like warriors, in my opinion. Who the devil play 4 test matches, 3 against yet 1 country, test matches, and within 18 days?
You said you've been quite unlucky with injuries, but there was a story about one of your players being bitten by a spider, and that was why he was out. Could you just explain a little bit more about what actually happened there?
Look, there was an abscess, a massive abscess on his pectoral muscle, and they had to do a minor sort of a cut operation on it. Whether it was through a spider or not, I'm not sure. Initially, that was one of the diagnosis that was made, but it could be something else as well. So I'm not 100% sure, and I don't think the medical team is 100% sure what was the cause of the abscess, but it was quite big, and it was quite...
There's some bite marks.
Yeah, some bite marks on it, obviously, yeah. So whether it was a spider, I'm not too sure. Someone mentioned that. But it was a huge, like a big abscess, and it was difficult to drain it. And therefore, they had to... The cut was still open, couldn't put stitches. It's difficult to then do any movement around the area. That's why it was unavailable to play.
Monsieur en vert. Juste, non, au-dessus, en vert, qui lève la main. Merci.
Allister, how do you explain the ill discipline? I think you've had the most red cards in the World Cup now, with the one today and the one for your captain against France. So what do you put that down to?
I think the first one was pure unlucky. He was really unlucky with the first one, our captain. The second one obviously was just poor technique, I would say. Just poor. He was just upright in the. We work hard on a level change when it comes to one-on-one tackling because of that clash situation and what it is, you know. So we put him in a bad position, and that's the effect of that, you know.
You said Daisel was unlucky. What did you make of the sanction that was handed down to him?
I suppose it is a fair sanction. It was a head clash, and that's what the punishment. Well, they went for high end, but eventually it is a 4-week ban. If you scale it down to 1 week that he missed this week, 5 weeks, 1 more week for community service in the coaching clinic, in the form of a coaching clinic, and it's effectively 4 weeks. So I'd say it's fair.
Last question, please.
Hi, it's a question for Allister. Is this kind of defeat important for the development of the team and the players? It could go to the captain, to the 2 of you actually, because it's a different kind of defeat.
It's massively important, I think, and I'm sure the whole country, rugby following people in Namibia, was looking at a win, a first win. Yeah, so we're also obsessed with the first win. Then we forget about the steps that we should take. Not to hope for a first win, but to know we'll get a first win at the World Cup. I know COVID played a massive role in that, but we've got an opportunity again now to get it right, you know, to do the right things and to make sure that we are better off when we go to the next World Cup.
Should I answer that too?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, obviously with COVID there, and I'm not really sure how many tests we played in 4 years. I think it's single digits. And when you come at this level, without the experience of building test and the group playing together for a long time, that's what you'll get. And secondly, I think it's what all the Tier 2 nations ask for. Every World Cup, same questions being asked, how can you improve? And it's quite easy. It's playing more competitive games against tier 1 countries, quality opposition. Whether it's 1 or 2 games a year during that 4 years, I think it will be massive. And thirdly, I think the challenge goes out to our union. And obviously, with COVID, it has been tough. But it's to get that high performance up and running and to have a franchise which is professional, same as the likes of the South American teams. So we can hopefully take some few notes on that South American league and what we can do to reach that level, and that'll be massive. I think if we can do that come next year already and build properly, progressively, and I think that gap will be better. It'll be a better gap. So I think those are the 3 main points.
Hit the nail on the head there. Thank you for your guys. It's been a wonderful World Cup for the team. I think, despite of not winning, they've enjoyed the experience. The French have been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tjiuee.